taking on a fight. Coins and cash making it last. Jordan Budgets, we got this crew.
Hey y'all, it's Jordan from Jordan Budgets. Today I want to chat with you guys about my planners and my notebooks that I'm going to be using in 2026, as well as sharing what I've been using for 2025. Now, I know this and you know this, but just to make an announcement for anybody who might be happening upon this video as a first video for me, this is primarily a budgeting channel. I do cash budgeting, meaning I stuff money into these cute little notebooks that I sell. So like this is a 50 envelope savings challenge where $1 goes in the 1 spot, $7 goes in the 7 spot, and so on. By the end of my 50 envelope savings challenge, I've saved almost $1,300. So this is primarily what you would see on my channel, is these types of books, which would be kind of my money books and things. But I am also very passionate about budgeting, and I like to budget pen to paper, which is kind of where my two worlds collide, because I am obsessed with paper planners, but it doesn't typically show up on my channel. However, I wanted to share with you guys my budget in my Hobonichis from 2025, as well as talk about and show you guys how I'm going to be setting up my budget in my 2026 Hobonichis. And I just kind of thought, while I've been on this rabbit hole all weekend of kind of like playing with my planner ecosystem, if you will, I might as well just go ahead and share it on my YouTube channel for those of you that might be interested. There will be a bit of budget talk, meaning the pen to paper writing your budget, but this is not a cash stuffing. Again, like I said, that's typically what you find on my channel, but we will talk about budget maybe 15% of the time, but the rest of the time I'm just going to be sharing with you guys my complete system. Like I said, this isn't something I do all the time, but maybe a few times a year I do like to check in with you guys. I am a single mom. I make all of my money on Etsy and YouTube, and my kids are now in a private school. There's just a lot going on in my life, and so I think the fun, like showy part of budgeting is the cash stuffing, but I would argue that the most important part of budgeting is writing down your budget, writing down your numbers, what you're making, where you're spending money, tracking those things. I would say that's even more important. And same thing when it comes to running my family. I feel like, you know, moments with the kids, those are those definitely are the most important things, but I wouldn't be able to schedule my life well and do things well if it weren't for the planning portion of it. So I am very much a pen to paper girl. If you plan digitally, I know that works for some people. It just doesn't work for me. So I have found kind of an ecosystem and created systems for myself that work in these planners. So before we talk about this system, let me just tell you, I spent most of 2025 in this planner alone, and then about halfway through the year, I got another Hobonichi Weeks. This is a Hobonichi Weeks. I got this other Hobonichi Weeks to track my work stuff. So I now have a personal Hobonichi Weeks and a business or work Hobonichi Weeks, and this to me is all I really need for the planning of things. In case you're just here for the budgeting, let me actually start out with that, because I do have a lot to say about my budget and tracking my budget, and it's going to be another video soon, like later this week. But this is how I've been tracking my entire personal budget for the year, is just on one page. So I started in February. I do a monthly overview, if you haven't seen this yet, for me, where I just write 1 through, like February there was 28 days, so 1 through 28. I track all of the spending as it's happening, or like typically I check it in the morning for the day before with my cash and my accounts, and I just write all of my spending up here except for my bills, which February was the first month I did it. So like bills and work, it was a little not figured out yet, right? But I did the same kind of thing. And then in March is when I kind of figured out, oh, I need to separate my personal bills from my work bills. So I track all my spending up here in one calendar view, except for my bills. I just write in a list and then in order of when they need to get paid in the month. So mortgage is on the first. The very last bill that I tend to pay is Netflix for $9. So it's like lower on the list, and so on. So if you really look closely, you can see that my tracking evolved a little bit, but I pretty much kept that same system throughout this entire year for 2025. I do color code. Food is always red. Miscellaneous spending is always purple. and then bills is always blue. That's pretty much my only categories. I have bills, other, and food. If you're interested in this budgeting and exactly how I'm breaking up all these categories and stuff, this will be a budgeting video very soon in my planners. So go ahead and subscribe and keep an eye out for that video. But in setup for that video, because I feel like there's some questions that need to be answered before I share that video, I did just want to give kind of an overview of things. So this is how I've been tracking every single month for this year. And I'm finding that I want a little bit more space for like the bills and some of the overview stuff. So what I tried to do, and you guys may know this if you've been around my channel, I tried to get a budget planner at the start of 2025 and that didn't work. I just stuck to tracking it in here. And then just a couple of months ago, I launched the idea to you guys that maybe I would do a simplified budget planner, and guess what? I didn't use that either. I stuck to this Hobonichi Weeks. And so there's a huge part of me that was like, why am I trying to make something work somewhere else just so that I can have a budget planner to share with you guys? And it already works in the planner that I actually have. Now, there's a whole other conversation that we can have. I would love to launch my own planner, budget planner, but spoiler alert, it would be very similar to a Hobonichi Weeks with just some insert pages, right? So that I would love to make that happen. It's just not in the budget right now to take on a big project like that. And so I haven't, but this works for me. So this is what I'm going to keep doing. With that being said though, I would like to, now this is my work planner for 2025, but I would like to do something more like this. I can't start at the end of this year because I just don't have enough space in my Hobonichi Weeks, but I want to write out a monthly income and expense page where I have total income, projected income, and then actual, and then projected expenses and actual, just on one page in this Hobonichi Weeks, and then an overview of my bills, an overview of other and food, and an overview of savings and debt. And then my weekly spread or my monthly spread will look like this. So it will just take up, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages total per month. And it's still a very simplified version that I know I'm going to stick with. Now, if you're interested in anything that I just said to you, that will be either the next video or very soon after, because I'm waiting for some sticker paper to come in, and then we're going to put our personal budget together in this Hobonichi Week so you guys can see it. Okay, before we move into the lineup, this is something that you guys may be seeing me do on my channel. It's basically a blown up, like, bigger version of what I just showed in my Hobonichi Weeks. And if you guys are interested, I can definitely make this a printable. And we will talk more about this in that next video that is just planner budgeting focused. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, this is basically a bigger version of what's in my Hobonichi Weeks, which some of you might enjoy using if you like how I write mine out. I will be using this just to show you guys in budgeting videos though, because I know that Hobonichi Weeks is just such tiny writing. But over the weekend, while I was kind of reevaluating my system, I did go ahead and say, look, I'm going to stick to the Hobonichi Weeks. I know that works for me. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel, but I did go ahead and create this as a template in case you guys are interested in using a system like what I have, because I know you're going to see it. And if you think it might work for you, I want you to have a version available. So if anybody posts that they are at all interested, I will go ahead and create printables for the rest of 2025 and all of 2026 to be just in one easy download, for a few bucks. So that is the budgeting portion. I do just want to show you guys because I am excited about my new system and I hope that you guys are as well. These are two Hobonichi Weeks. This is the strawberry milk design and this is the, I think, peony pink? No, peony purple. I'm not sure. I will link them below if you guys are interested, or link all the details. This will be my personal planner. Now I did get a Hobonichi Weeks Mega, which just means, if you haven't seen this before, I guess I can show you the rough overview. This is a monthly spread. It's very thin paper, which I rather enjoy. It's kind of like Bible paper, but still holds up to ink very well. And then the weeks look like this. So there's like lines over here to keep up with your schedule, and then this is all graph paper on the side. So that's what the weeks look like. And then this is a mega, so it has 200 and oh my goodness, can you guys hear the wind? It scared me. Though it's so windy here today in Des Moines, Iowa. So if you want to do a similar system as to what I'm doing, I have a Hobonichi Weeks Mega. If you get the regular Hobonichi Weeks, you will have enough pages in the back to set up your budget the same way that I'm doing it, but you won't have any extra pages. So I went ahead and got the Mega. I think it's gonna take, I don't remember how many pages are in the regular. The regular Hobonichi Weeks has 73 pages instead of the, what I say, 213 or something. So I remember like adding up how many pages, I did add up how many pages it's gonna take, and it's gonna take about 73 pages to do a budget the way that I'm gonna set it up in the next video for if you wanna set it up the same way. So just be aware of that if you're interested in kind of copying the system. I wanted extra pages beyond that because there's other things that I track. This little yellow string, by the way, is like an add-on. It's not, doesn't come with the planner, so ignore that. But yeah, this is gonna be my personal, I'm going to track my personal life and personal budget. And then in the extra pages, I'm really making a big focus this year on my health. So I think my extra pages are gonna go to new recipes, tracking our eating, tracking our fast food, that kind of thing. So that's what's gonna be in this planner. And this planner is going to be my work planner. So I like to track in my work planner, in my personal planner, obviously in the monthly spread, I track appointments for the kids, that kind of thing. In my work planner, I like to track physical items that sell, printable items that sell, now that I'm selling printables, and new item releases whenever I launch something new. So like some big overview stuff. I might change that to focus on work budget for this monthly overview. I'm not sure for 2026, but for weekly, okay, here's a good example. I don't worry about like how neat it is, but this is what a weekly spread looks for me for work. I track orders over here or any kind of big things. Like y'all know I have a $5 membership on my website, so I needed to send that email letter, so I marked that. But for the most part, I'm tracking orders, physical and digital over here. And then this middle, I like to track my social media stuff, like just an overview. Like I wanted to post a cash stuffing. Did it happen? No, I did post a cash stuffing down here. So I posted that. And then this middle spread here is just a long running to-do list of things that I need to do. Did I do all the things? No, but like that's what I track there. Let me get this out of the way. I have about this much of it marked off from you guys because I daily just look at all of my work accounts. Like I have a Shopify, I have an Etsy, I have different things for work, and I just kind of track balances of accounts in there to make sure nothing funky is going on. So I do that just every morning. I check in with that. So that's what a weekly spread looks like in my work, and I don't see that changing. Now in the back for my work, let me know if you have some ideas, but I've only been in a work planner, this work planner, for, like I said, maybe the last, I think I said 6 months, but really what I meant to say was the last few months, and then we've got a couple more months in the year. So like half of this won't end up being used for this year. The back of this has been a true experiment and of what I'm posting, but I think what's gonna work best for me is I would like to have the first maybe 30 pages of like different intentions, mission statements, that kind of thing, like things that I want to, like big overview work stuff, maybe vision board, whatever, like that, all that. And then the majority of the pages be daily thoughts, ideas, not necessarily a checklist because I have that on the weekly, but say today I had a great idea for something. I don't have the time to design right now, but like it's a great idea. I could just write the date down and write the idea down and hopefully revisit it again when I do have the time, right? So as far as planners go, that's really my planner system. It's just 2 books, personal, work. I do like having them separated because in the morning I can sit down and really make sure I've got the kid, before I've got the kids off to school, like what do I need to tell them we have going on after school? What do I need to put in their book bag? Because that's what's happening at school. I kind of focus on this in the morning, and then once the kids are at school, I say, okay, I am ignoring you. My personal life does not need me right now, and I pull out my work journal I pull up my work planner and I can really focus in on what I need to do for work and what's on that to-do list, right? So as far as planners go, if I could only have two, these are the two. That's really all I use for planners. You see I have notebooks, and we're going to chat about it just because I had a lot of fun this weekend playing with my Hobonichi notebooks that I got there. I got these from Yoseka. They just came this morning because I do like to... See, this is why I don't share my planners often, because it's like I want to share with you guys just my clip, which should be so simple, but my planners are obviously full of personal stuff. So I can't figure out where I could possibly clip it. Okay, this is just some back pages. But it's just a little clip to keep it open. It looks really, really cute. I have one other clip that I've been using that I actually stole from my son because it is a piano like music clip, and I love it so much. So I ordered these two. It's just cute and keeps the planner open really flat. So anyway, I have that. Aside, I do not typically do any planner shopping throughout the year. So I do just want to quickly mention too, I recently joined Sticky Club. I think it's stickyclub.com. I'll link that down below too. Not affiliated whatsoever, but it comes with like, it's a subscription. So every month for maybe $12, very affordable. It comes with 7 sticker sheets, a little notepad, like different types of stationery. It's just super cute. I don't even know if you guys can see this well, but just trust me, it's adorable. And I typically, 1, don't have the money for stationery, and 2, or like stickers, and 2, don't have the time to like hunt for some. So this subscription is perfect for me. So outside of what I've already bought, I will get Sticky Club once a month, and that's it. And I don't have to dedicate any money or brain power outside of that to like having my stationery needs met, right? Okay, notebooks. I know this says that it's a planner because it is. It's actually a Han from 2025 from this year, but I got it for $20 off of Amazon because they go on sale a lot when it's not planner season, right? So I do have this, so I just wanted to show it. I'm using it right now to track my kid's piano practice that he's doing on the piano. And then my younger son, I'm trying to talk him into like learning watercolor with me or doing some kind of artsy thing. And then the idea here is just every day, whenever we dedicate time to our art, be it watercolor, be it piano for my older kid, I will just write a little, little blurb about what was practiced, what was done. The whole idea behind this really is just that it encourages us to put a focus on our art, and then maybe someday we can look back and see how much we've grown in those things, right? But I did want to mention this just lives by the piano, so it's not like in my planner lineup necessarily, but I thought it was super cute, so I wanted to share it with you guys. Now there is a piano Han. Well, this is an A6 Han, and there's a design that has a piano on it for 2026. It's very expensive right now, so my thought is just to keep using this one because I got it so late in the year. I will just go to January. As far as I can tell, there's no real dates on it. I mean, it says January 1st on Wednesday, so next year the Wednesday part won't be accurate, but I could wipe that out easily or put a sticker on it. It's not that big of a deal, right? So even if I wanted to use this as a planner, I could totally get this off season for like a 1/4 of the price. Anyway, this is a brand new notebook. So the idea is though, once the piano design in the A6 Han goes on sale next year, I will pick that one up and we will continue our hobbies tracking in there. This video is getting so long, so I'm gonna go through this as quickly as I possibly can. I am tracking my grocery spending in here, and I do a bit of like taxes in here. So this is kind of a money notebook, and I really only use it, like I've already started, I tracked 2024 taxes in here. I have been setting up 2025 in here. That's all the blue months. So definitely my taxes will be in here, and then my monthly grocery tracking. So this one is being kind of used for overview money. Now, like I said, my money is really tracked on the day-to-day in here, but every couple of weeks I can kind of like update my groceries. I can make sure my taxes are set up. So that's the intention with this one. It's not something I'm touching every single day, but something that is definitely living on my shelf. And I'm getting back to this notebook, you know, once, twice a month, whenever I feel like sitting down with it. Last notebook, let me know if you guys want to see a video on this one, because I know it is so off track, off topic. I'm making an emergency preparedness notebook, and I had so much fun setting this up this weekend. This is kind of what encouraged me to even share all of my lineup. And then ironically, like, I'm like, oh no, this is getting too long. Let's rush through this. I have very few hobbies. I would say cash stuffing, cash budgeting in general, number one. Number two, or maybe also number one, is paper planning. The very next thing would definitely be emergency preparedness. And so I had this notebook free, and I thought, why do I have so many notes on my phone everywhere about, like, what does my stockpiling look like? Like, what is, you know, it's not looking that great, just so you know. Don't come to my house in an emergency. But I think I want to focus this year on getting that in order. This is very much a fun, not stressful thing for me. This weekend I had some free time. I didn't feel like I had to be working on something, which is a little bit abnormal. It's just our routines are starting to get a little bit better now that my kids are in school. They were homeschooling, in case you're new here. I'm a single mom who was homeschooling, who works full-time for myself. So as you can imagine, the free time to indulge in emergency preparedness has not been there. But this weekend I had like 2 hours, and I'm like, what am I gonna do with myself? And what I did with myself was I put washi tape on the side of this notebook. That's how exciting I am. I did take this notebook. It's just a plain regular Hobonichi notebook. And I put washi tape on the side and then folded it over. It's kind of like DIY tabs, but it's not sticking out. It's just, you know, I can see the colors, right? So I did kind of section out, and I'll flip through my sections. And if you guys want to see a little like update and come back to this video every once in a while, or this notebook every once in a while, let me know. This again is not something I am like passionately actively working on, but just if I have a couple hours where I'm bored and want to play with the notebook, this is what I'm gonna do. So page 1, I'm gonna put like a grab list here. So if I just need to grab this notebook and get out of the house for some reason, like, this is a reference to say, girl, don't forget y'all's iPads, computers, whatever, you know, like, what's important to you, grab it. So that is the very first thing. And then the rest of these, and this page right behind it, is a preparedness plan, like a 72-hour checklist or a go bag. And then behind that, in our next little section, is emergency contacts. There's not really a rhyme or reason between why, like, how many pages are in between there. My thought is once I fill this notebook up, I can remake it and make it better, you know? So I tried to give spaces here and there as I thought was needed, but I didn't put too much thought into it. Emergency contacts on the next few pages. And then I have a medical section, and this medical section is quite large. My thought is that in the medical section, I'll put local doctors, maybe even their addresses if for some reason something were to happen and we couldn't get to that, and some medical notes and history on me and the kids, again, in case I need to reference data that is no longer online for some reason. Food stockpile is the next section, and then again, I'm just like looking for the word I put the washi tape. So food stockpile, I would love to be 3 to 6 months ahead, but I live in a small space, so I don't know how realistic that is. Disposables and medical stockpile, so again, being 3 to 6 months ahead on that. Camping and no power gear or plan, for example, something really smart to do. If you don't have power, for example, in the winter, you can take a freestanding tent, put it in your living room, put a blanket on top of it, and underneath it, like as insulation, and then you and your family sleep inside the tent to stay warm. And with that, you need to be aware, like, make sure you're getting enough oxygen. You're not just rebreathing your air. So like, be smart. Don't follow everything somebody says online without doing your own research on how to do it properly, or if you even should do it. You know, just saying that as an example though. I would like to have a list of my gear on here and then how I could use it if I needed it. So that's what I mean by no power gear / plan, like listing out all my camping gear, and then how might that even be helpful. I don't know if y'all have been through emergencies. I've been through enough hurricanes and things to know though that like you're not always in your right mind right before an emergency or right after an emergency. So having a notebook like this is just a good idea to help you in case your brain isn't braining that well. Recipes and food guides. So this is a pretty big section because my thought is that I would like to put stockpile type food and then recipes on how we would use that. So this would not be like everyday recipes. It would be emergency recipes. Like I only have 3 ingredients. What can I do with that? Those kinds of thoughts and ideas would be in that. A health, food, trade, and then I circled local connections. So like, who do I know that has food? Who do I know that has medical information? Keeping up with those kinds of things on this page. I did not reference any other book or like idea. Again, this is just a hobby of mine. So if you have any ideas of things I've left out, please definitely let me know. I'd be happy to add another tab. But this is just what I have so far. Resources and checklists will go here. And then I have a gardening section, again, emergency items. I'm somebody, am I weird? But I like to be like, what do I have in my house? I have 10 pair of pants and 5 pair of shorts. Like, I would love to have my whole house itemized. That's probably a really weird thing to say, but that's what this section is for. If the urge just ever hits to itemize my my entire house. Of course, that would be really hard to do, but like you might start with your kitchen or your clothes and that be the weekend project, not your whole house. This is a little morbid, but I have an oh no, I'm dead section. And that is just thinking that if something were to happen to me, I would want my family to know what I'm going to have important information for them here. I would love to do more end of life planning, but at this stage in life, this is as far as I am, is that I'm going to have an oh no, I'm dead tab in my emergency planning book. So family, if you're watching this, that's where you find my thoughts. And then the last page I have, or the last little section, is finances. I am tracking my finances in real time in other planners like I showed you guys. This is more big picture. Like right now, my finances would be, like I don't have any finances that I'm leaving to people, but the idea is just to track overall assets and liabilities, like track my assets and liabilities, and hopefully eventually there's some assets to like really write down in here, but at this point I don't have that. But this is definitely, again, this is not a notebook that I have to touch ever again. This is just kind of for fun and would be helpful if I do. But there's no pressure for me to like get in this one, right? Well, that is it for this video. Let me know in the comments what you think of this style video. This is definitely not something that's going to be all the time on my channel, but I would be happy to do like a planner check-in or something once a month, maybe less. I don't know, maybe if this video gets, I'm pulling out my computer to see what, like how many likes I typically get. So typically I'd say I get like 300 likes would be good for me. Not good for my health, but like 300 would be about normal to good for my channel to do. So if this video gets 300 likes or more, I will do a more frequent check-in with my planners, maybe my emergency prep book, whatever you guys tell me you want to see in the comments. If we don't get that many though, I'm going to assume you guys just want me to stick to the regularly scheduled like cash stuffing, cash budgeting. And I will though, you will be seeing this planner a lot as I track my personal budget in here. But trying to branch into some new things though and see how you guys like it. So please let me know. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, you with the dreams so bright. We're saving together, taking on the fight. Coins and cash, making it last.